everyone, my name is Miranda and today I'm here to discuss episode 13 of Dimension 20 Never After, and boy oh boy was I really looking forward to this episode. So I think, first of all, this is probably my favorite episode title ever, Terror on Toy Island. I think that's so fun, and just the idea of like this place that was all mayhem and chaos and just like all things fun. I mean, you could say good, but not good, because it was just like kids getting turned into donkeys. But like all this thing where like Pinocchio had such a great time and was like hyping it up to see what it has truly become, I think is a good reminder of like what the Never After is and what like the Gander is, you know, the darkness that's happening in the Never After, like what it's turning into these things. So I was super excited for this battle. I really liked that it happened a lot sooner after the previous battle, instead of there was like a good like 4 or 5 episodes I think in between the Miss Muffet battle and then the one at the Baron of Bricks. This one was only like 2 episodes after, and it was such an amazing battle set. Like all the battle sets this season have been top tier, like next level, but there was something about how interactive this one was and how like they actually made the waves look like waves and everything that I was just super impressed with. And I have to say, listen, going into this I was obviously very nervous because yes, they're a higher level of party, but they're still rather low, and I feel like they still, you know, it could all be decided by the dice but also just by luck, and they didn't have the element of surprise in this one since they were surprised completely by the King of the Ocean, who, you know, I knew he was gonna be a formidable foe. Like he wants his daughter back, these people are in his way, and he probably had stuff up the wazoo that I don't even know about, which is why it was so surprising, like literally jaw-dropping, within, what would you say, 15 minutes of the battle beginning of the episode, the guy that you think is going to be the big bad gets completely eaten, and you realize that he's not the big bad. There is a bigger and badder one out there in the terrible dogfish. I'm not even going to try to say it like the pretty way that Brennan was saying it because I would just completely butcher it. But like, yeah, that's a power move when you like have a whole week of like thinking like, okay, this guy's gonna be like so bad, and like I can't even imagine what his spells are gonna be. And like even that first spell that he shot off, the insect plague, that took some of them down like half their hit points just in one go. I was like, this is not gonna be good. And then man just gets eaten. And you're like, oh, this is what we have to deal with, which that was terrifying. Like I don't want to disrespect that at all, like that was terrifying, but there was some sense of relief of that there wasn't going to be someone that was shooting spells at them anymore, because I think that could have been a real detriment to the party. It was like having to deal with, I mean, it probably also had to do with Lou's Nat 20 and how we figured out quite quickly how to get rid of the terrible dogfish, but there was just something about like, okay, if we can outmaneuver it, then we're safe. I mean, we did have the like fish people to deal with, which Murph's whole journey with that was hysterical, how he thought they were going to be on their side now and they were still like, no, we got to get her. And it was great. I also wanted to see Mira more in battle, but I think like what happened with her rounds was she was more like charmed and then like had to use her whole rounds to just like undo the charm or something like that. Like I feel like I didn't really get a sense still of like what her class could be. I know she had that awesome moment where she like kicked her legs and was like, "Ba-doom," and like got them out of the water, but I just wish she could have done more so I could have got more of a sense of like what she is. You know how like Snow White is the queen of the dead and then Cinderella is like a fighter. I wish we could have known more about like what Mira brings to the table, but I know she's also kind of not aware of everything that's going on in terms of like the multi-hopping dimension and stuff like that. And I mean, complicated feelings about Daddy aside, she did just see him get eaten, so she kind of seemed to like not get over that quickly, but compartmentalize that quickly. But I did like the beginning. Like, I feel like Brennan did such a good way of, like, presenting someone where it's like, you know that it's not like they're choosing not to talk. It's like they literally cannot talk. And I don't know how he did it, but just it was like his mannerism. So, like, in the beginning, when Emily was trying to check, like, what's our daddy meter? Daddy good? Daddy bad? And he was just like, bad. Like, just the way he can express it where it's like, oh, this is a person who can't talk, but, like, you can really, like, get that, I think is so impressive. So I'm excited to see what she has to say in the next episode, hopefully, because we didn't get to talk to her a lot in this one, since obviously other things were clearly happening, but I want to know more about like why she ran away from her dad, what happened with her story, because they were even talking about in Adventuring Party how Little Mermaid's story kind of differs in some versions, more so than like a Cinderella or like a Snow White, which seems to be more consistent across the different iterations of it. And I think it will be also interesting if her prince is still around or something like that. Like, I know he doesn't love her, and I'm not like looking for like that, just like what her feelings on that are and everything like that, and especially compared to how Rosamund is kind of on this kick of like, true love isn't real, it'd be nice if it was, but it isn't. Like, I think that would be kind of funny coupled with that. And then it looked like in the preview, which is giving me major stress again because I thought we were past this, that they're doubting the princesses again. And I'm just like, can we please tell me who is an ally in this? I am so worried. It's kind of starting to feel like maybe the only allies literally are the people within the party, and like maybe Scheherazade, like if we could ever talk to her again, maybe. I think we are gonna hopefully go back to the lines between, because like they did leave Muffet and the Itsy Bitsy Spider there, and I would like to hopefully see them again sometime, but I just don't know like where we're going from here. I want to know why exactly Mira left her dad. Like, I want to know what exactly was the precipice of that, because obviously there's way more to that, I think. And if she, I don't know if like this is in the actual, well, I think it is, because the sisters are the one that give her the knife to kill the prince, but are her sisters out there somewhere? Did her dad do something to the sisters? Like, I feel like there could definitely still be people out there looking for her, especially now if like the king of the ocean is dead. Like, obviously one of the sisters, maybe Mira, is gonna be the one that rules this land now. So we know the king of the ocean, his kind of whole plan was that he wanted to take over the land and just make it all ocean, which was kind of what he was, I guess, working with the Council of the Kings. But I feel like the Council of the Kings are also like being played against each other, because like obviously it's a bunch of kings, but like they all want to rule everything, but that's not possible because they all have their own lands. So that's why I'm really curious to see what Mira is going to add to it, and just getting to talk to her more will be awesome, because like I said, we kind of like met her, got like base information, and then immediately her dad popped up, and then immediately this terrible battle happened. We also had the Sea Witch come, which was surprising to me in terms of she seemed to actually be wanting to help them and help Mira. So I think it would be actually kind of cool if Mira and the Sea Witch have like a good relationship in this. I don't know. I feel like Mira didn't have the best reaction to her, but then it was also like the Sea Witch like literally seemed like she was coming to help. Like she was against the King of the Oceans, which she usually is against the King of the Oceans, but usually he is like on the right side and she's on the wrong side. And it seemed like she was happy to have Mira stay on land, but then also like not have the party get eaten by the terrible dogfish. So I'm kind of curious what they get from her, because the other thing we know about the witches is that the princesses have said like the fairies are the bad ones. The witches haven't made a decision yet really, but it seems like if they were to, it would be towards the fairies. So now this is kind of the first actual witch we've gotten to meet. I know the Snow Queen is technically a witch and Snow White is dealing with all of that, but we didn't get to talk to her. So I'm just curious to see like what the witches, or at least one witch, what her opinion on all of this that's happening is, because like I said, she didn't seem like bad. I don't know, like you think like, oh, the Sea Witch is coming on her little, maybe it's because she was like rowing on a little canoe. You're like, okay, like this cannot be. Like after a dogfish just like pops up out of the ocean and eats King Triton, like a little sea witch like rowing on her boat at like 10 miles an hour, you're not like, okay, this needs to be dealt with immediately. Like it just seems so non-threatening, which is the way she was acting. She seemed like quite nice. So that's why I'm like, oh, maybe we can get the witches on our side, or maybe like this is where they start to doubt the princesses again, because the witches are like, hey, like this has to happen, but the princesses, I think the problem with the princesses is if they went too far, you know? That's my thing, because it's like right now we've got it all lined up kind of the fairies want it all to stay the same, the princesses want it to change, but like to make your own decisions, and then the stepmother wants everything just burned down. So I feel like if the princesses, which I don't think they would. That's why I'm like, why are we doubting the princesses? Like, I don't know why are we doubting the princesses? It gives me so much stress. I want to trust them. They're so badass and cool. I think in the next one we're going to meet the Beast, because the way they had in the preview of Red interacting with someone, it seemed like she was interacting with the Beast, which that's probably the one I'm most excited to learn, like, what happened in that story. Like, is that Belle? Is Belle non-existent? Like, is it some morph of that or something like that? And I'm really curious to see that. We also should be meeting Rapunzel, which will be great. And then hopefully Ellie, which I'm really, really excited for. That's the other thing that makes me think like you can't doubt the princesses is Elodie's on their side. And I feel like, I don't know if it's just because of the connection I have to Gerard, but like the way he talks about her, I don't think she would ever be up to something like malicious or like ill-intended. Like I think she would really want what's best for her people, you know, and obviously herself, but like her people, like she wouldn't screw over an entire kingdom, like she has a duty to that. So I'm just, yeah, so confused. I also didn't realize until I watched the Adventuring Party, the last one, this is a longer season, so it's actually 20 episodes instead of like the 16, 17 that we would usually get, which completely throws off my timeline, because now I feel like where I was saying like this is like entering the final third act of it, I think this is wrapping up the second act of it actually, and now we're going to start getting some more information of like figuring out who exactly is going to be the big bad. I'm just worried that the final episode honestly is them going to be fighting like some of the princesses, some of the fairies, the wicked stepmother, like just all these different people as opposed to like one big bad, which I think is what this episode showed of like, don't think that you can anticipate or know who the big bad is, because a bigger, badder person could always come in. And I mean, look at what we have. We've got the wolf, who is literally death, as like a BFF of theirs, and then we've got these fairies who are supposed to be helping who aren't. So it's like, I think with this episode, and again, I've been saying it all along, is expect the unexpected, but I think I'm still trying to play it in a book of like a normal D&D season of like, this is the big bad, we're all building up to that. I feel like it's not that anymore. I feel like it's gonna probably be like a front of like different people fighting different people, and then I really don't know how it's gonna end or what even would be like considered a good ending, because it's like, do you go back to how it was and then the authors are happy, or do you continue doing this but then it's like some people don't know that they're not awakened and stuff, and it's just like there's all these questions now. So yeah, knowing that it's 20 episodes definitely like reframed my state of mind with all of it, and I'm just so nervous. So yeah, if you have seen this episode, please feel free to leave your thoughts about it down in the comments. Also make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!